Hello everyone, my group is formed by Dana Banda, Santiago Padilla, María José Contreras, and Caroline Vidal. And today we will explain all you need to know about comparison essay. So let's get started. Next one. Before writing a comparison essay, we need to know what a comparison essay is. A comparison essay analyzes how two related subjects are similar or different. That is to say, you will focus on the similarities between the two items, on the differences, or on both, the similarities and the differences. Your goal is to show in a meaningful way how these items are similar or different, what their strengths and weaknesses are, or what their advantages or disadvantages are, in which you compare ideas, people, different times in history, any two items that are related in some way or have characteristics in common. For example, if your general topic addresses forms of urban transportation, you could choose to write a comparison essay on the car and the bicycle. Another example could be in a history class, your essay might compare heroes of the French Revolution and the American Revolution. Besides, a comparison essay can do one of three things. It can say that the two subjects are more different than similar. Also, it can say that the two subjects are more similar than different. And finally, it can show how the two subjects share both similarities and differences. To sum up, your essay would focus on comparing, contrasting, or on both. Next one. Okay, how is a comparison essay organized? There are two main ways to organize a comparison essay. It would, I would say that the main difference between a comparison essay and the other essays are that you have options with this kind of essay because you can apply two methods. The first one is the point by point method, and the second one is the block method. Both styles include an introduction that is basically the same as other essays, the hook that will engage the reader and introduce both subjects, which is pretty important, the background that will give any essential information that the reader needs to understand the main point of the essay, and then the thesis statement that will focus on the comparison for the reader. And finally, the conclusion. We have to take into account that the body paragraph is organized differently. Everything depends on the method that you choose.
And now, talking about point by point method, here the writer is going to take three topics related to the two objects he or she is going to compare and write about it in every single body paragraph. For example, if we are going to take of the education, the high school and the college, we can compare with three topics that it would be cost, academic challenges, and social environment. In the essay, it will be have has five paragraphs, and it will look like this. Next one, please. For example, here we have three steps that we have to follow. The first one is the introduction, the body paragraph, and the conclusion. Then we have five paragraphs. The first one is where you are going to write the hook. The hook is very important because here is where you are going to catch people attentions. So in the second paragraph, you are going to talk about the cost for both of them, for the high school and for college. In the third paragraph, you are going to talk about the academic challenges for both, for high school and for college. In the fourth paragraph, you are going to talk about a social environment for both of them, for high school and for college. And the last one, that it would be the fifth paragraph, is where you are going to give the conclusion, where you are going to, you here you can give a suggestion, an opinion, and even a prediction. And then we will have an example. Next one. I have to clarify that this text it's not complete, and if you want to read it, the whole text, you can get it the link in the last slides. So here, the title, the title is Large Leap, and this is the hook. The hook says, the lead from high school to college it's large one. Many students enter post-secondary education expecting experience to be the same as the one they have while at secondary school. These students are wrong to make this assumption, and they very quickly realize just how different college is. College costs more, present more challenging academic, offer more in social environment than high school. Here we have already talked about the two objects that are high school and college, and the three things in common they have to compare: the cost, the academic challenges, and the social environment. Next one. This is the second paragraph where we are going to talk about the cost for both of them. And it says, first, in terms of cost, college is more expensive than high school because of tuition, living expensive, and books. Here we have already talked about the first one, that it would be college. And at the end of the third paragraph, we talk about the high school, the environment, the government found high school. So high schools, students do not have to pay for their education. We have already compared these two objects in this area, cost. The next paragraph, the second paragraph, the workload in college is more challenging than the workload in high school. Here, I have already talked about the college, and about the challenges that it would be. And at the end of this paragraph, we have whereas high school students uh, average only 1 to 3 assignments per week. Here we have compared the two objects, and we have done for the third paragraph. The next one, the fourth one, it's about the social environment, and it says, third, in college there are more activities, sports, and clubs for students to participate in than in high school. College students have both to the benefits of being able to join various sport teams, as well as being able to use any athletic facilities the college have to offer. Here we have already talked about the activities that the college has, and at the end of the paragraph, we can find, in contrast, more high school often offer no varsity sport teams, but very few high school both athletic facilities similar to those of a college. And here we have already talked about the two objects and the thing they have in common, that is the social environment. The next paragraph. This paragraph is the conclusion, and is where the author can write about their opinion, or give a suggestion, or even a prediction. And here we have, on the basis of financial, academic, and social aspects, college is more costly, more academically challenging, and more socially stimulating than high school. Obviously, we have to keep in mind that we have to be really, we have to write details to make this clarified, and to make us understand to the reader. And the next one. And here we have another common structure that be also used for writers, and is really similar to the previous one, but here we have six paragraphs where the first one is the hook, the second one is where you are going to talk about the cause, the third one is when you are going to talk about academic challenges, the fourth one is where you are going to talk about social environment, and the fifth one that is the different is where you are going to talk about which one do you think it's better, or give an opinion about it. And the last one is when you are going to talk about your conclusion. And that's it.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the block method. In the block method, you present all of the relevant information about one subject first, and then you present all of the relevant information about the other subject, right? In this method, you must be very careful to list the same kind of information in the same order for each subject, right? And this is a technique called parallel structure. Okay. Um, for example, if you compare two modes of transportation, a car and a bicycle, for the convenience and ease of use, for safety, and for cost, you must provide the information for both modes of transportation, and you must list the same kind of information and in the same order, right? Okay, next one. Okay, here is how a block method would look like. First, we have four paragraphs. The first one is the introduction. The second and the third one are the body paragraphs. And finally, the fourth paragraph is the conclusion. Okay, in the first paragraph, that is the introduction, you have the hook, and this is a very important part of your essay because with this hook, you are going to grab readers' attention, right? Okay, then we have connecting information, and then the thesis. Then you mention a strong thesis statement in which you mention the two subjects, and here you have to let the reader know your focus if you're talking about similarities or differences or both. Okay. Um, Now I'm going to give you some examples about thesis statements. For similarities, it would be although these two modes of transportation are used in different occasions, it's easy to see how similar they are. Okay, this is for similarities. Here you can see that I use the word similar to let the reader know that my focus here is similarities. Okay, for differences, we could write something like this. Cars and bicycles are both modes of transportation, yet they differ in many things. Okay, and you see that here I use the word yet to show a contrast, and also I put the word differ, and that word is vital to let my reader know that this is going to be an essay focused on differences. Now, if I want to write a thesis statement about both similarities and differences, I could write something like this. Even though cars and bicycles differ in lots of ways, they also have some similarities. Here, I use the word differ and then I add the word also to show that I'm going to talk about something else that is some similarities, okay? Then in the second paragraph, we have the body paragraph, the first body paragraph, that is the second one. We talk about the first subject, that in this case is the car, and we list some points, 3 points in this case, that is the convenience and ease of use, the safety, and the cost, right? So in the third paragraph, we list the same kind of information, the same 3 points, but with the other subject, that is the bicycle. And four, we have the conclusion. And here we restated the thesis and give some suggestions, opinions, or predictions. Now, some examples again for restated thesis would be for similarities. In some, cars and bicycles are obviously rather similar. You see that here I use in some to show that that is the end of the essay, and also you should use the word similar again. Okay. For differences, it would be to conclude, it is clear that cars and bicycles have many different things. Here I use to conclude again to show to the reader that is the end of the essay, and also I add the word different. Now a restated thesis about differences and similarities would be, in short, when examining cars and bicycles, there are some differences as well as a variety of similarities. Now, next one, please. I'm going to give an example of a comparison essay, but using this method, that is the Black method. And I'm going to divide this in 4 parts, right? The first one is the introduction, then the body paragraph, that is the second and third paragraph, and the fourth one, that is the conclusion. Okay, let's start with the introduction. Although mountains and the beach are both good places to spend your vacations, they differ in many things. There are many opinions where to choose. There are many options where to choose of them. Both places offer a variety of fun activities and ways of spending the time with your family. The beach offers activities that the mountain cannot offer, and vice versa. The mountain and the beach are totally different. In this essay are going to be contrasted the climate, type of activities, and location of beaches and mountains, right? So here we have a good thesis statement, that is, although mountains and the beach are both good places to spend your vacations, they differ in many things. So here in the introduction paragraph, we put the hook, the thesis statement, and some connecting information. And also we say that the 3 points that we are going to talk with, they're going to talk about, that is the climate, type of activities, and locations. Okay, the next one. Okay, the second paragraph is the body paragraph about the first subject, that is the mountains. Okay, we're going to read it. First, it will be mentioned the 3 aspects about mountains: climate, type of activities, and location. Climate is always important in order to enjoy vacations. If a person dislikes cold weather, he or she might have a hard time in the mountains. The cold climate there is the fair barrier to enjoy them. By the climate and the temperature of these zones are also determine the type of activities they offer: snowboarding, mountain climbing, mountain biking, hiking, and skiing are some activities people can enjoy when going to this place. There are many regions that have mountains where people can go and have a great vacation. Canada is a country located in North America and contains many mountains, vacation sites where people can go and have fun. Okay, here in this body paragraph that is about the mountains, that is the first subject, we put the 3 points, that is the climate, type of activities, and location, right? Okay, next one, please. The third paragraph is also a body paragraph, but talking about the second subject, that is the pitch. Okay, well, we are going to read it, of course. Second, beaches are also good places where to spend vacations. It will be mentioned the climate, type of activities, and location. Warm climate is one of the most important features that the beach has. Sun and fun are two words that describe the beach. The temperature in those places is always hot. The sea and the warm climate determine the activities that are available at the beach. People can swim, play volleyball, play soccer, and ride water bikes. In most coastal sites, there are discos and restaurants where people can dance or party throughout the night. Mexico offers many amazing coastal sites to visit. Acapulco and Cancun are two of the most beautiful and famous beaches in the world. Okay, here is the second body paragraph that is about the second subject that we are talking about, that is the beach. And here we list the same kind of information that in the previous one, that is 3 points: the climate, type of activities, and location, right? Okay, next one, please. Okay, now we are going to talk about the conclusion and we are going to read it. To conclude, it is clear that mountains and beaches have many different qualities. How everyone, it doesn't matter what place a person decides to choose. The fun is actually guaranteed. People often choose one of these two options to spend their vacations. Depending on what the person likes is what he or she will choose. Although I like the beach better than the mountains, sometimes it is better to take a risk and try a different place to enjoy. Okay, here you can see that we restate the thesis that we have before. That is, to conclude, it is clear that mountains and beaches have many different qualities. Okay, so we restated the thesis and also we add the connector to conclude, to show to the reader that it's the end of the essay. And also we gave some suggestions or personal opinion about these subjects, right? Okay, next one, please. Okay, now we have this structure that is practically the same as the previous chart we saw, but here you can also add another paragraph in which you evaluate what you have compared about the two subjects and make a recommendation about it to the reader. This optional paragraph would go before the conclusion, and you add your suggestions or opinions about these two subjects. Okay, next one.
Okay, guys. Now let's talk about transitions and connectors. Transition and connectors are important in comparison essay because they clarify the relationship between two subjects or two topics that we are talking about. We can find two different type of transitions and connectors, and they are focused on similarities or differences. We can find transition and connectors such as also, as, both, equally, and similar to, have in common, to focus on similarities, that you are talking about similarities about the two topics. And also we can find transitions and connectors to talk or focus on differences. We can find but, although, different from, instead, rather, while, unlike. Remember, guys, that when we use connectors correctly, they will help you. They will help us to to have the sentence clear for us and clear for the readings, because it's more easy to understand what we want to focus on the comparison essay that we are writing. Okay, now let's talk about a strong thesis statement. And a strong thesis statement for a comparison essay indicates whether the essay focuses on differences or similarities or both. In addition, thesis statements sometimes use heading words, but what is a heading word? Heading words are the things we write and say in order to soften our words, to make them less direct, and to limit or qualify claims and statements that we make or that we are writing in our comparison essay. We can find these heading words, such as may, might, can, seem, appear, or so. And also a common structure that we can find in comparison essay or employs a constructive connector, such as although, despite, why, as we are seeing here. We have some examples with these common structures. For example, if we want to focus on differences, we use although. For example, although Joe's Dinner and Burger Town both serve hundreds of hamburgers each day, the similarities end there. We are focused on, you can see we are focusing on differences, more differences. If we want to focus on similarities, we use despite or while. For example, despite obvious differences in two languages, English and French share a number of important similarities. Or you can use while. For example, while Night Owl and Watchmen, the heroes of Alan Moore's Watchmen, appear, we are using here, if you can see, we are using heading words, appear to be exact opposites. They share three important qualities that enable their error acts. We are focusing here on similarities. And if you want to focus on both similarities and differences, you can use although both, the word both. Barbara and Rachel Nickel and Demon and Jeffrey Sachs, The End of the Poverty, discuss the topic of poverty. They approach this topic in very different ways. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to write a strong thesis statement for your essay. So we can find 4 steps for do this. The first one is developing a purposeful thesis. In this step, we have to develop a thesis that contains the purpose and the meaning is to decide the direction of our essay, of comparison essay. For example, the topic of online college courses versus side college courses is too broad and can contain more options. If the question is narrowed down to which method of learning is more effective for adult learners on site or online, a more specific and relevant direction and purpose is created for a target audience. Okay, the second step is compare and construct the characteristics. After developing the purpose of the thesis, You can compare the chosen subjects with a graphic organized like a Venn diagram in which similarities are played within the overlapping section of two circles and differences goes in the outer sections. Um, this is for effective of analyze the characteristics of two types of learning. For example, a conclusion they reach following analysis of the two subjects. Despite the advantage of on-site courses, online learning provides to learners with more flexibility and cost savings. And the third step is word choices in constructing a thesis. Um, Here, the language for compare and construct thesis usually begins with a conditional word like although or whereas, because they express the outcome of the comparison essay. For example, although the advantages of on-site college courses benefit students living on online courses, provide returning adult learners with more flexibility and cost saving. We have to I chose a word we want to focus on our comparison essay. And because the two groups affected by the comparison essay are more clarified and defined and connected to the value judgment of made by the comparison. And finally, we can find the placement of the thesis in the introduction. The usual place that readers or writers expect to find the thesis statement in a compare or contrast essay is in the last sentence of the introduction. And before giving you some suggestions, some topics for you to write your comparison essay, remember, guys, you have to take into account some questions before you write your comparison essay. The first one is what the futures two subjects share in common, or what future they don't share in common. And the most important thing, if you can find enough information about your topic, about the subject you want to write, because it's important. And the great general topic that we want to give you for you to write your essay, you can compare to sports like kickboxing or boxing if you like sports, or you can compare to countries, uh, women today and women 1 century ago. And if you like history in this subject, you can write down about World War and World Two, or you can compare two websites for learning English, for example, Duolingo and Cake. What you want, guys? Or you can compare it to different college. It could be a public college or private college. It's depend on what you want to write. And thanks.
And here, it's the link where you can get it and read the whole essay. And the next one, please. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.